Hey y'all, it's your girl Kimberly D. And tonight we are going to have what I like to call midweek matters because it's the middle of the week and there are certain things that took place today that I feel like matter. And if they affected me, perhaps they affected some of you. And tonight I have a guest. The hubsters. So, yeah. Tonight we are going to have open discussion. We're going to have open discussion and we're going to talk about something that actually took place on today, and it was a bit disturbing. It wasn't anything that was unthinkable. Was it out of the norm? Yes, it was. It was for me anyway. It was out of the norm, but it happens. It happens all the time, and it's a problem. It's a problem. It's damaging. It can take lives. It can cause a lot of disruption. So what I'm referring to is road rage. What we call road rage. And yeah, so I thought, you know what, this will be a great topic to discuss because it's a problem and it happens probably every single day. He's here for the statistics. He's more of a statistical person, so he'll give you all the deets, all the details, and all the numbers, the statistics, or the yeah, that's what you call it, right? Statistics. So I have a story, and it wasn't funny at the time. It's still not funny now. Sometimes when and of course this wasn't tragic, but sometimes when tragic things happen and you actually survive them, one of the natural reactions that I learned in my concealed handlers class was that you laugh sometimes because you're in awe of the fact that you actually survived a thing. So a lot of times when things happen, it's not because it's funny at all. Sometimes people just have that's just a natural reaction to, that you have, because you know what, that thing could have took me out. But as I was driving into the office this morning, and I take the same exact route every time I take the same exact route. I may have left maybe 5 minutes late. Not late, but 5 minutes later. So with that being said, I ended up being in traffic that was a little bit heavier, and so it may have just put me in a different traffic altogether, because every morning you see some of the same cars on the road because it's the routine thing. So this morning I'm driving in and I'm going through a roundabout. That, I guess that's what they're called. Yeah, they're called a roundabout. And you know how when you're going into the roundabout, you're what's the word?
Merge?
You're merging into the roundabout, or and so it tells you to yield oncoming traffic. I do this all the time. I know this road. This is the same road I always say. So I know the rules. I mean, I've been driving for a while. Not to mention, I know this road. So I'm yielding to oncoming traffic. And there's two cars coming. So, of course, I do what the sign says. Do what you're supposed to do, and I yield. Well, there's this car behind me. This little SUV behind me. And she starts honking. she was laying on it. And I'm like, what the world? Because I'm like shocked that somebody's honking at me because I'm yielding to the oncoming traffic. She can see the traffic just like I can see the traffic. And my first initial thought was, go around. if you are in that big of a hurry, go around and help yourself to this oncoming traffic. And she proceeded to start, saying whatever she was saying, because I could see her mouth in the rearview mirror. And she, the hands go up, and, she's doing her thing. And so I just calmly wait. Well, that's not true, because I wasn't calm. Because you know what? I used to have a problem with road rage. I've never gotten into a physical altercation, but there's been altercations that could have very easily turned physical had one of us gotten out the vehicles. So, I've had to deal with that. I've had to get myself all the way together, because it's not cute, it's not safe, and it's ridiculous. We too grown for that. So, she kept honking and doing her thing. And as I proceeded to go, and then she flew from behind me and kind of did her thing. And she was, I look over and I could see her just saying all this stuff and doing her hands. And so I said, I don't even remember what I said. I think I said something that wasn't nice. I think I called a heifer something that wasn't godlike. And the sad part is that I was on the car phone with my son, and he had to witness this. So I wasn't a very good example, and I had to apologize for that. And what's even worse is that I had just not too long ago read my scripture for the day. And the scripture of the day, I went totally contrary to that. And I said, you know what? That was my scripture of the day, because that was my test. And I didn't pass. And I had to repent, ask God to forgive me and help me on the next time. I don't really want to have a next time, but, it kind of goes with the territory. Sometimes you got to have a next time to know if you got it. You got to pass the test. But I said whatever I said. And she could tell that I probably wasn't saying very nice things. And then she gave me the bird. So I was like, you know what? You can take that bird and you know what to do with it. And, I went on and she went on. And I was just like, one, I didn't pass the test. Later, afterwards, I felt embarrassed because my son had to witness it. And I wasn't a very good role model, because it could have went left really quick. Who knows if she had a weapon? Who knows if she was real crazy? Who knows? She could have rammed my car. She could have done a number of things that would have caused a number of things. And for what? All because she was doing whatever she was doing. Maybe she was running late, and your lack of preparedness does not become my problem, because I left 5 minutes late, but I was still in enough time to get where I was going with peace and ease without driving like a maniac, and I knew that I was wrong, because I could feel like that fight or flight. You know how you feel that adrenaline pumping, that fight or flight? And it definitely was not flight. It was more on the fight side. So I knew I was wrong, because I was operating in that spirit. I was operating completely out of flesh. So that wasn't wrong. And when you operate out of flesh, you get a fleshly reward. And sometimes you can't recover from that thing. So, it's always good, especially if you call yourself a child of God, is to not even react, but respond and do it according to the word, especially if you just read the word. Come on. It's ridiculous. So, that's a situation and an issue all in itself. But road rage was the topic of the matter, midweek matters. And then I also wanted to talk about gas prices. That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. One thing that I learned, and it kind of all ties in. One thing that I saw today, when we were talking, me and my son were still talking, and he was like, well, I said, you know, it's against the law to honk your horn. I learned that last year, that it was against the law to honk your horn. And I was like, but they put horns in cars, so why would it be against the law? It's there for a reason. You're supposed to use it. Well, you're actually, according to what I know, you're supposed to only use your horn if it's to avoid an accident. You're not supposed to use your horn to cuss anybody out. You're not supposed to use your horn to say, hey. And, you know, you're supposed to use it only to avoid an accident, and it's not supposed to be in an excessive manner.
Right.
You know, when you're saying, hey, you do, doop, doop, hey, you know, if you're like, oh, girl, you're like, dum, dum, you know, it's like, get out the way. And then the people that lay on the horn, I guess they really letting you have it at that point. So, yeah, that's very excessive. But you're only supposed to use the horn when you're trying to avoid an accident, and it's supposed to be within a reasonable amount of honking, I would assume. So, yeah, that's one thing, honking the horn. And so my son says, well, no, you're supposed to honk the horn when somebody's at the light and it's green and they won't go. I said, no, that's not true. Because eventually they're going to know that the traffic is moving, and then they'll just go. You honk the horn, that might cause an issue. They don't go. Then you really stopped, and then they get out, you get out. Who knows what could happen? So then as I proceed on, I'm looking over at the gas station, and I'm like, why the top part says cash and it's this price? The second line is debit or credit and it's another price. And then diesel's at the bottom. And he's like, Mom, that's because you get charged less if you pay cash. I said, since when? He said, since forever he's been driving. I said, I've never seen that before. So I want to know, has anybody else seen that? You know, where you get a little incentive to pay cash versus using your debit or credit card. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it's right up at that gas station up here at Chevron.
I'm also a person that don't like pumping gas. I don't know. Y'all ladies tell me, if you're married, did all of a sudden you despise pumping gas? Almost like your vows included, I shall not pump gas. I don't know. When I was single, I guess you have to pump gas, so you just pump gas. But I'm telling y'all, I do not like, I don't want to see a gas station. I want to get in the vehicle and I want to go. I don't want to have to stop for gas. Y'all let me know if that's part of y'all's situation. But I guess I'm doing all the talking. I invited somebody on and I ain't letting them talk.
Well,
so what do you think about the road rage?
Well, the road rage thing, you have to be careful with it because you don't know. Nowadays, it's a lot different driving because, one, people are crazy, and people are under a lot of stress too, and it can get real violent real quick, you know. So it's like it's not even worth arguing half the time because you got to think. Listen, my main job is to get home safely without incident, and you know, if they want to act crazy, let them act crazy. But you know, me personally, I just, you know, I just ignore all of it because that's my main mission, is to get home safely. I don't need no incident or nothing like that. I mean, I have had incidents where somebody has gotten out of a car and approached me, but and it's funny, that's the first time that's ever happened. But that's my
that
issue.
Was handled.
Yeah, that was
handled.
Yeah, so
let's just say he got back in his vehicle real quick.
Right. So and
he probably won't be doing that again.
Right. And I understand, you know, these are stressful times and stuff like that, but that's not really my problem. You know, you gotta, you know, we're all in this together. We're on the same road, trying to get to the same, well, not the same place, but, you know, traveling the same direction and things like that. And, you know, you have to really think nowadays. And now that my wife has to go in to the office, I used to tell her all the time when she worked from home, because I had to go into the office, and I used to say, I'm telling you, that driving is no joke. It's a job in itself. Right. By the time you done sat in traffic and dealt with people cutting in front of you and doing all kind of crazy stuff, you're tired when you get to work. And then, when you go home, God forbid you got to drive, any length of time, like 30, 45 minutes. And, depending on what road you take out here in Arizona or what freeway, like the 101 over there by Scottsdale and all those areas, you can forget about it. It's always congested no matter what. So you're going to be sitting and doing at least 20 miles an hour and things like that. So and I don't understand. The funny thing about here is you'll see the same people. Like if you leave at the same time all the time, you'll see the same cars. So it's like, I know that your exit is coming up. So why are you way in this lane and going to try to shoot all the way to cross at the last minute when you already know and I just laugh. I just said, it's crazy. And then they get mad, but not other people's fault. They going where they got to go.
And see, that's how I knew she wasn't part of the group.
Yeah.
She wasn't part of the group. She was running late. Your group was way earlier, but now you done fell in our group and you want to act up.
Right. And I looked up some things, even at the roundabout. And this is interesting because I've noticed that with some roundabouts, if you notice, some will have a yield sign at each of the points that you go into the roundabout, and then some will just have like a yellow circle and it'll have arrows in a circle telling you that it's a roundabout.
I don't like those because I get which way did he go? Which way am I supposed to go?
The interesting thing was I looked up like a yield sign and what it actually means. And it says yield means, let's see, what is it? It says characterized as an upside down white triangle bordered by red. I didn't know that.
Right, and now that I'm looking at it,
yeah, it is. So it's not a red sign with the white. It's actually a white sign with the red bordering. I didn't even realize that. And it says yield signs predominantly mean to slow down. It's used as a warning sign that there may be something up ahead that requires you to slow down and be cautious of your surroundings. Now, okay, it says you're supposed to slow down if there's a yield sign, but then I look up like rules to driving in a roundabout. Now, this comes from the Arizona State Department of Transportation. And listen to this now. Now, we just learned that yield means to slow down because something is coming up or you're approaching something where you need to slow down. Now, look at this. It says how to drive around modern roundabouts. It says never merge. The right-of-way is observed at the yield sign. Motorists already in the roundabout have the right-of-way. Go slow down to 15 to 25 miles per hour when entering. Let vehicles already circulating go ahead. So if you have to do that, it's going to require you to stop. If you have vehicles that's already merged, you can't just. So a yield sign technically shouldn't be there because there will be a time where you have to stop if there's traffic.
Exactly.
If there's
and that was my situation.
Right, because if two cars are back to back going around the roundabout, you can't just cut in. Because most roundabouts only fit one car. The only one I've seen, this was in a foreign country where they had the huge roundabout where like two cars can.
I had the yield sign, and they were in the roundabout. I was on the edge of the roundabout, so I wasn't technically in the roundabout.
Right. You waiting to get onto the roundabout or go in the roundabout.
I was going. I would have to draw a diagram like we in court or something. But they're coming around it, and I'm over here, and I'm going. They're coming around it. I'm over here going that way. So we're gonna hit if nobody yields.
Right.
And since I have the yield sign, it's for me to yield. So I did what I was supposed to do, and allowed them to proceed forward before I proceeded.
Right.
But she didn't agree with that.
Right. Honestly, I mean, the way that that's worded, I wouldn't even think a yield sign is proper at those things because you have to stop and wait or look. You can't just because if there's a good amount of traffic going, I mean, you have to wait for a space to become available to merge into the roundabout.
And there were two vehicles. One was like not so much in the roundabout. He was like on another road that kind of merged into that road. It's a situation. It's not a bad situation. I don't think they have it set up incorrectly. It's just what it is.
Right.
You just do what you're supposed to do and everything works. But when you have Sally Mae who left however many minutes too late, and she probably on the verge of being terminated, who knows what the issue is. Maybe she was just impatient, period. I don't know. Impatient Pat. I don't know who she was. But today wasn't the day. Today wasn't the day for her to be acting crazy and talking and waving and flipping a bird.
Right.
But I'm grateful that I went this way and she went that way.
Right.
So, you know, and I was telling my son, what would be the likelihood we pull up at the job? How would that work out? So, you know, you have to think before you just go to acting a fool, because you don't know who you're acting a fool with. You know, what if I was her superior? What if, you know, just what if? You just never know what the situation is. Like he said, everybody wants to go home at the end of the day.
Right.
And we want to go home well. Nobody has time for car repairs, rental car. No one has bail money. Let's say that. No one has that. No one wants to go to hell because Sally Sue didn't make you do it. You made you do it. You might have just got too mad at Sally Sue and you didn't take the word and hide it in your heart. You know, that because we can't say somebody made me do something.
Exactly.
Because we all have choice. And we choose whether or not we're going to act a fool or not.
Right.
So.
And I just want to touch base on the using the horn, the excessive use of the horn.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Because Arizona actually does have a law regarding that. And I'm reading from, let's see, it says, actually it's from Arizona, some law site. It says, commonly asked question of law enforcement, many drivers wonder if it's illegal to honk a car horn unnecessarily or in cases where it distracts other commuters. We've all heard drivers going a little crazy with their car horns, honking for long periods of time out of impatience, anger, because they're simply clowning around, or even when they're trying to get the attention of someone inside a house or apartment. Now this is in Arizona, so if you're watching in other states, this
look
doesn't
up your
apply.
own
Right.
laws.
And I'm gonna say this disclaimer: by no means are we lawyers, or we
At all.
So do your own research, things like this. But
We're Kimberly DNA.
right. So we're not lawyers by any means, and this is not legal advice. So just reading the statutes in the state of Arizona. So it says, according to Arizona law 28-954, if reasonably necessary to ensure the safe operation of a motor vehicle, the driver shall give an audible warning with the driver's horn, but shall not otherwise use the horn when on a highway. Isn't that something?
So how you gonna honk if they on the highway about to hit you?
Right. It says the law clearly states that horns should be used primarily for safety, but if used otherwise could receive a. It says the law clearly states that horns should be used primarily for safety, but if used otherwise, could you receive a ticket? The short answer is yes. Though authorities say that it's left to the discretion of the officer, a driver may be given a citation for failure to use horn properly, unlawful use of a warning device. If a police officer catches them using their horn to yell at another driver, or if the horn is being used excessively for any reason other than safety. And I like this, it says, all in all, it's best to hold your honk unless you're trying to warn another driver of a dangerous situation.
And there wasn't nothing dangerous about the situation.
Right.
Now, she wasn't honking me because she thought the car was going to hit me. She wanted me to get out her way.
And then it wraps up by saying, and people should know this, but it says, Arizona law says police lights and sirens are not permitted on your average passenger car SUV.
Yeah,
so,
that's common sense.
So that should be, it should be common sense, but but yeah, that's crazy. So, but yeah.
Let's talk about the bird. What it say about giving somebody the bird?
Well, it didn't say any. I looked that up and it didn't say nothing about that. I mean, I guess technically that could be assault, you know.
Because it's nonverbal,
Right, right. So I mean,
but it's very aggressive.
right. So I would say just don't do it because, like I said, people are crazy. You know, you flip them the bird. You know, they flip you the bird. You flip them back, and you don't know because
Hey,
here
boy.
in Arizona, people have been shot on the freeways for road rage. And I mean, even a mother with a child in the car was murdered. Road rage, a guy, she ended up cutting him off, and you know, he basically shot her. You know, and killed her.
It's
Crazy,
ridiculous.
you know.
It's ridiculous.
So think, you know, is it really worth responding to this person? You know, and I know a lot of us, you know, we're working hard and we had a bad day and inflation is up, you have bills due, a lot
Gas
of
prices
stuff.
is up.
Right, stuff is up, but just keep that in mind that, look, it's really not worth it at the end of the day. You know, like I heard one gentleman say, we have 84,500 seconds in a day. Are you going to let 20 seconds, you know, affect the whole 84,000, you know? So, you know, just keep stuff in perspective, you know. If they come out their vehicle and approaching you, then
And you can't leave.
right, that's
because the proper thing to do would be just to drive off.
Right, just drive off.
Because now you know you really dealing with a fool.
Right.
And like what I like to say is let a fool be a fool by himself.
Right.
His or herself.
Right.
But if you can't leave, you can't get 911 on the horn. Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. To call 911, that's why these phones now, you can say, hey, whatever, and dial 911 while they're approaching your vehicle. Roll your windows up, lock your doors, you know, and let them act crazy, you know. Prayerfully, they don't...
Call Jesus.
Right. Prayerfully, they don't brandish a weapon or anything like that. But if, you know, on here, I know we can't say nothing about that, but just handle your business in that case. Like I always said, I'd rather be, you know, judged by 12 than carried out by 6. So
I think it's just ridiculous.
I'll leave it like that. And I'm a firm believer. I believe that women now need to learn how to protect themselves. You know, in the event that, you know, because a man is not always, or somebody is not always going to be there.
But you would really, really hope that a man would not be aggressively
not in today's time.
Attacking a female.
Not in today's time. They don't care.
And, you know, I told my son, I said, you know, I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a dash cam. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get a dash cam because that kind of opened me up. And, you know, we're getting ready to go into the celebratory seasons. And, you know, that brings a whole different set of stressors. You know, people are going to be out on the roads even more, trying to get to this next sale, or I want to get the, you know, the Barbie with the dream house before they all run out, you know. So that brings a whole different set of stressors to drivers. You know, so I think that what I'm gonna do is get a dash cam.
And some insurance companies reduce your rates when you have a dash cam on them too. They say because that's the extra security and preventative. Because I mean, it doesn't hurt if you ever watch. Well, I watch a lot of YouTube videos. Like I'll watch accidents in foreign countries, whatever. It seems like over there, every one of them have a dash cam or one that attaches to the mirror. You know, so that they have evidence of it because. Nowadays, you can say he said, she said, or whatever, but technically, if they don't have any, you know, real proof now, you have to have video proof, you know, and you know, if you have that just helps your case.
And if I had a dash cam, y'all could have saw Sally Mae acting up, and I would have posted it, and maybe it would have made it around to her, and she could see how silly she was acting.
Yeah, so just be safe out there. It's we're in some crucial times. You know, people are losing jobs, and you know things are just going on in the world, and you know people are under stress now. You know, I mean, just going grocery shopping. You know how much food is and stuff like that. That's a stressor. People don't realize that's no. We think about what everything you think about when you're driving into work or driving home. You're thinking about bills coming up, or I got to stop by the store. I got to make sure I have enough money to buy what I need at the store because $20 don't get what it used to get. You know, it's
$20.
Yeah, I'm serious. Yeah, You can't get anything
What
now.
you gonna buy with $20?
Right. It's like, so these are stressors, and some people are working 2-3 jobs. You know what I mean? It's like
People are tired. They're asleep on the road.
yeah, it's rough out here. I don't know what, this news and all this talking about. Oh, the economy's great. I don't know where they at, but
Right.
normal everyday people, they're feeling the pinch. So
Right.
especially now, we're going to talk about the gas, so we can wrap this up. But
And what I had to do after I repented for how I acted, I had to pray for her, because you just don't know, like he was saying, what makes people act this way. Whatever she was going through, whatever she was going to face once she arrived, wherever she arrived, or if that was just her nasty disposition. It all requires prayer, because God can change things. Prayer changes things, and it changes people. So that was the best thing that I could do for her.
Yeah, absolutely. That's all we can do. I mean, it's there's more important things that you can worry about. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we shouldn't be
causing somebody else
grief, but
grief.
I mean, God tells us that we shouldn't be worrying anyway. But I mean, everyday things. You know what I mean? But we still should take it to God. And that's the important, having the Word on the inside. We're doing a Bible study about Proverbs, and it's really, really good. Proverbs is it's a book that tells you how it is, and we need to put our trust in God, but also the Bible says watch as well as pray.
And we have to watch when we're on the road.
That's
and
right.
you have to pray.
And pray for traveling grace and mercy. That's a real thing.
When I'm driving, I pray for everybody around me.
Yeah.
Praying, asking God, let us all get to where we have to get to well. Without any incidents or accidents.
That's right.
Because, I'm hoping somebody else out there praying for me.
Yep.
As we going to where we have no choice. Well, we all have a choice. Going where we choose to go. Because we're not going to act like it's all drab. You just put your music on and you enjoy your drive in. Right. You'll drive out. Wherever you'll drive up, you'll drive down.
I'm going to say this as a disclaimer for music now. Don't be listening to nothing that's going to get you hyped up and where you go.
Sometimes you need to be hyped up to deal with whatever you're going to deal with once you get where you go.
Punching somebody in the face because you listening to NWA or something.
Sometimes you need that sometimes.
So listen to something that's at least positive or something, because you know that music out there that, some of that stuff you'll be ready to you'll take you back.
Take you back where?
Take you back to the good old days where you used to.
No, sometimes you need that upbeat. You need something upbeat to get you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe we all have.
Get you ready.
I believe we should have a cruising soundtrack, like a playlist.
I'm not cruising.
I'm talking about when you're coming. Well, I look at it like when I'm leaving from work. All right, I'm out of work. Okay, that part's done. So I just want to listen to some music, cruising music that I can, something that's like, all right, cool.
Coming home, I might do a cruise sound.
Now
going in,
yeah, you need something.
I need something to get me there.
Right, you need something.
I got to get there.
Right,
and
Right. So, about the gas that you were talking about, gas prices.
And we're going to be very brief.
Right. It's
because we've already spent a lot of time on road rage. And one thing I want to just say about the road rage, if you guys have experienced that, drop it in the comments. Let us know what your experiences have been. Prayerfully, if you're still here, you made it through. And prayerfully, you weren't one of the Sally Mays. If it's a bunch of Sally Mays out there, y'all forgive me. I ain't talking bad about your name. I'm just saying, I don't know the young lady's name, but hopefully you weren't on that end. But sometimes we find ourselves there. Thank God we're still here to tell about it.
Right. And so we're going to be, with that being said, we're going to go to the gas question about the cash prices and stuff. But yes, a lot of gas stations now do that. Well, they've been doing it for a while, but certain ones, like we have one up the street that'll have 3 different prices and 4 different. They say if you pay with a credit card, this is how much it'll be, but it has to be their credit card that you get the discount on. Or some of them would say cash, because actually these companies now, they really don't want to deal with cash. So it's actually reverse. Cash is usually more than if you use a debit or one of the gas cards, like if you go to
I
Chevron.
don't think it was more on the sign I saw. I'll let you know. Tomorrow I'll check. And hopefully...
Yeah,
Oh, that's what I was going to say about honking at people when they're at the stop sign, the stoplight. I was too busy looking at the sign and the light changed. And thankfully no one was behind me, or I probably would have got honked. But I realized the traffic had started moving because in my peripheral, I could see the cars going. So that's what I was kind of letting, our son know, that you don't have to honk at people. People will get it. They'll get it. Let's just be a little patient. Let's be patient.
Well, the thing is, going back to that, with the stoplight, you don't want to shoot out there as soon as the light turns green anyway. I don't care who's behind me and they honk as soon as the light turned green, because I've seen too many people T-boned and taken out of here because somebody was running the red light and you shoot out there as soon as it turned green and bam, there it is. It's like, just be patient, slow down. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be there when you get there, wherever you're going. Believe me, I know there's emergencies and things like that, but just be careful.
And I went to driving school. Yes, I went to driving school prior to getting my license. And they even teach you that you're supposed to wait so many seconds before you go anyway. Mm-hmm. It's a precautionary measure. Yeah,
we've seen around in this area that we live in, we've seen a lot of bad accidents. I mean, where you could tell that somebody ran the light and they...
Impatient.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been bad. Right up here, up on the corner, it's been a lot of fatal accidents. So, but getting into the gas, if you ever seen gas and you always see, it'll say, like, for example, $6.99. Well, not six. Well, it is $6.99 in California. California, but it'll say like $5.36, and you'll see 9/10 at the end. And there was a question that was posed: what is that 9/10? Where does that come from? Is it just something they just created? But actually, the practice of tacking 9/10 of a cent on the end of gas prices goes back to when gas cost only pennies per gallon and was a tax imposed by state and federal governments. Gas stations added the fraction of a cent on the end of the price instead of rounding up the price. Back then, a full penny would have been a budget buster for customers. The federal tax was implemented in 1932 as a part of the Revenue Act of 1932 and was supposed to expire in 1934. Imagine that, but they still carry it over. So that's where the 9/10 that you see at the end.
So Deon, that was to answer your question.
Right. So it was supposed to expire, if you notice that, but they still got it on there. So believe me, there's a reason why it's still on there, because think about all that extra money and taxes that they're getting off of that 9/10. That's a penny. Think about that. So, and some of these gas stations, they got real slick now. While you're even pumping the gas, before anything comes out the nozzle,
it starts spinning,
and you're like, "Wait a minute, what?"
I want all my drip drops. I want all of them.
I seen one guy holding the hose, and he was like, he was at the gas station. He said he was getting.
I want every drip, every drop.
Right. I mean, but drop in the comment section what is the gas prices where you are at?
Yes, please let us know, because we're in what five. It's maybe five.
I don't know.
And
no, it's more than that. It's 30 something.
Yeah.
Because we
filled up on Sunday and it was $90. But our average is generally $70. But that's because we went to Circle K instead of Sam's or Costco. So it does make a difference on where you go.
Yeah.
And I only went to Circle K because it was convenient, and I downloaded the app and they gave the 25 cents off for the first 5 fill-ups. And it still was $90. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's...
When he told me the price, because of course he was pumping, I said, you have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. And that's for premium, of course, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at...
it makes me want to try and switch it over.
Yeah.
But we tried that before and almost tore the car up. They tell you that your car wants a certain gas. You tell me how you gonna go about that. Like, if you want to go to a cheaper grade, a less grade, you tell me how to do it, because I'm about it. I'm willing to try it. But the last time, it was tinking and tonking, and I said, okay, I won't do that no more. I hear you. I know. Okay, you don't like it.
Yeah.
So,
So we're at like it says we're at 523 as of today, and so yeah, 523.
so that went down since we got gas,
Yeah, that was
because it
yesterday.
was not that price when we purchased.
No, it wasn't. So it's 523 yesterday. So but it's still going up. They were saying on the news today, I was watching that oil can get up to, they're expecting by Christmas to be at $110 a barrel or something. So people in California, they're already hitting $7. And
It's ridiculous.
they're saying by the end of the year they'll hit possibly $9 to $10 gas. So, and we're not far behind here in Arizona. We get that same amount. We pretty much get that high price gas. I think we'll see $7, $7 or $8.
I hope not.
I'm praying not.
So with that being said, we are going to wrap this thing up. And I just want to say thank y'all for joining us. Don't forget to let us know in the comments if you've ever experienced road rage, whether you were the rager or the receiver. What are your gas prices? Yes, it's not even funny, y'all. For real, it's not funny, because people done lost their lives over this foolishness. People sitting in jail right now. So people sitting in hospitals.
Even kids.
People sitting in graves right now
kids
behind this foolishness. So it's definitely not a laughing matter. But let us know if you've experienced it and what end you were on. If not both. Let us know also in the comments what your gas prices are where you are. And how much it costs for you to fill up.
Yes.
And
oh God.
if you driving an SUV, we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna pray for you and your pockets. But with that being said, we want to just let y'all go. Say peace. Thanks for watching.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Share with a friend. Share with a family member.
Absolutely.
Y'all join the family and come on over.
That's right.
So we're gonna say bye, my co-host.
All right. See you.
All right, we'll see y'all when we see y'all.
All right.
Peace.